war against the US by the looks of things.
He's not a man to cross.
No, but also nor is the US government.
Fair point. Yeah, you're not wrong.
You know what I was thinking about this morning? It might just be like my.
We're live, by the way.
Oh yeah, no. It was Gary's his initials, GG. It's like whenever if someone gets a notice from the SEC, shut down your business immediately. At the bottom it says GG. It's like good game, guys.
Good game, yeah. Right, let's get into it. Welcome everyone to another GMA. I will be hosting the GMA, and we have obviously TJ here, the King of Alpha, and the new King of Alpha, AJ, also the unwittingly,
really
unknowledgeable King of Alpha,
the unknowing Alpha dropper.
Very much so. So today we'll be going over a brief update that TJ is going to give very shortly, and then we'll be diving into the questions that you all have in the AMA questions group, centered around the acquisition of Litchi AI, however you say it, and how that AI integration will work into our products, because I know there's a lot of questions out there with some more details. So without further ado, TJ, could you give us a brief update on what we've been up to the last week, please?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of progress on the reactor. We have more people in beta testing now. It's really exciting to see some of the companies using it and some of the conversations around it. Let's just say people are excited about it. And then on the AI side of things, we've just been working full tilt on getting that integrated fully into the site. And then, of course, working on finishing some of the pieces that I posted on Twitter last night, if any of you guys caught that. But yeah, there's progress all around. George, do you want to give them an update on the DeFi side of things?
Yeah, sure. So from a DeFi perspective, we are making some very good progress on swaps 2.0 specifically is what we're focusing on first. I've been working furiously with Logan and our developers to push that forward. I would say we're slightly ahead of time at the moment on that, with the added difficulty that TJ keeps coming up with these genius ideas for us to feed in, which take a little bit longer. But there's one specifically interesting one that I like that he's brought up recently. So we are investigating the possibility of feeding that in at a later stage, maybe swaps 3.0. But it's something that's really reignited the sort of excitement, especially with the developers as well, getting back into things. So I think on my calendar over the weekend there will be a possible sneak peek of what swaps 2.0 will look like. And yeah, that's mainly where the focus is. We'll move on to the other facets later on, which will be the console and the old dashboard. But at the moment, it's very much swaps 2.0 that we're pushing. So yeah, really good progress with that. I think you'll really like it. And I think the whales and the killer whales have obviously had previews to what that will look like. So yeah,
great.
That's us.
And AJ, would you briefly like to touch over fundraising without giving any specific details?
Yeah. Tell us what you've been doing without tell us what you've been doing.
Term sheets are in hands, which is a good sign. We've also been fielding a lot of meetings with different grant opportunities. So that's all I'm going to say. Term sheets are in hands, and we're having meetings with other layer ones and layer twos with regards to grant opportunities.
So just, AJ, I was going to follow on because some of the AMA questions, there was one particular community member's been having a bit of a dig at me. So just to explain, could you explain to the community what a grant is?
Grant is essentially something that an organization or a company or a nonprofit historically will provide another organization or a company or a team or a project to essentially facilitate a benefit to the organization in lieu of, say, like a contract for service. It's more of a, I don't want to use the word grant, but it's more of a financial, I don't even know how to describe it.
It's almost like it's like a raise. It's like,
it's not just a raise, but basically it's a source of funding to facilitate a goal for the organization who's providing the grant, right? So obviously with the reactor, there's a lot of value proposition that comes along with the technology. A lot of layer ones are recognizing that. So as opposed to going for like a direct partnership or something like that, we go for a grant, meaning that we basically make a proposal, and these proposals are generally 15 to 25 pages long, where we explain what it is that we intend to do with them, how we can provide a benefit, and how we will go through implementing those enhancements through a very rigorous schedule, as well as budgeting requirements, milestones, success metrics. It's a full roadmap of what it is that we're providing, how we're going to do it, and when we are going to do it to provide X.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I will dive into some of these questions because this is probably the most in-depth level of questioning we've had for the AMAs. So I want to give it the enough time for us to be able to go through them. So Sarcasm is asking, now that we're a couple of weeks into the closed beta testing, without going into too much detail, are you aware of any issues that will require further development time to fix, or is everything pretty much running according to plan? With feedback from improvements but no major issues, ? I.e., have the testers been able to break anything yet? TJ, did you?
So people haven't necessarily been able to break things yet. There's been a couple of bugs that we're picking up, just due to missing dependencies, which means that some specific libraries are to be added to the reactor in the future. Here, I'm trying to find the exact question on the AMA questions.
It's the
Instead of
first
some
one.
Sarcasm.
Well, put it this way. Nothing is crashed. The testers are using the reactor for a variety of different projects, which is great. We're really seeing some good sampling of how people intend to use the reactor. Of course, as TJ pointed out, they have encountered a couple bugs, which we've been able to rectify pretty quickly, which is great, because this is the whole reason why we do a private test, right? Before it goes live, we run through the entire software. People get to test out all the features and the functionality. And obviously along the way, during development process and during, banging your head against the wall, and Henry is making sure everything is up and running, a couple of things are, like TJ said, dependencies are missing or libraries haven't been updated. So when a user encounters that bug, we may have missed it and it gets highlighted. So then we become aware of it and we get the opportunity to fix it in real time very quickly. So yeah, nothing's crashed, which is great. Kudos to Henry. With regards to bugs, this is a natural process. Thankfully, there haven't been many of them. The testers are going through a curriculum, right? So this is how to do certain features or how to build with the reactor in these different areas. I don't know. Honestly, I've been reading all of the channels as well, keeping up. And I think there was maybe 2 bugs that were encountered. Outside of that, I think everyone is building and using it in a variety of different ways with great deal of success.
And we just onboarded a couple more who wanted some more wallets. So initial testers that wanted more people testing, so 2 more. And in fact, TJ, those 2 special ones that you wanted as well have been accepted. So yeah, it's very positive at the moment. Very, very positive, I would say.
Yeah, no negative feedback.
No.
This is a great question here from PS Arc ASM. He feels like it's really big, but he's not a developer. He doesn't quite understand. Is it difficult? Is it difficult to get his head around it? How excited developers may or may not be to use the reactor, and how much of a how much of a clamor might there be to use it? I've seen the demonstrous and it looks impressive. Oh, excuse me, demonstrations. Forgive me, guys. I took a red eye last night, so I'm working off of no sleep, and it's approaching noon for me. So I haven't eaten, I haven't slept. So if I fumble my words, that is the reason, I promise. But I think this is a really great question. I myself am not a developer at all. I've never written a line of code in my entire life. I cannot look at code and begin to tell you what it is. It might be to turn a toaster on, or it could be the nuclear launch missile codes. I can't tell you. But in layman's sense, for me, this was one of the big reasons why I actually joined ARC. It's because when people get an idea or they're in and getting a chance to use the reactor, the flexibility of the software to be able to ingest, map, code, build, merge, fork, edit in real time, and being able to do that in a diagrammatical way to visually understand how the code is working line by line. So for someone like me, who my background is I studied architecture, so I'm a very visual person. I can understand diagrams, I can read blueprints, I can draw section, all those types of things. So I understand visually like what's happening. But it also has the ability to allow more seasoned developers who are more used to that traditional method of coding line by line to be able to do that in an environment which also in real time shows diagrammatically how the code is being developed, functioning, and where the dependencies are, to be able to in real time understand what you're building and to mitigate any sort of errors, breaks, missing dependencies. On top of that, there's also the auto compiler, which drastically reduces the time to deployment. There's also a number of other features, which I'm sure TJ is going to dive into. But in terms of this question, as a non-developer, basically it is like a new way to understand what you're building and being able to deploy it in rapid time. So why is that? If it takes less time, it costs a lot less. And if you are a small team or an individual and you don't have the resources or the talent to build your vision, the reactor gives an individual the power of a full team without having to have the overhead, the money, or necessarily all the technical capabilities to be able to realize a vision. And I think that is probably one of the most powerful value propositions of the reactor.
Yeah, and one of the comparisons I like to make is that back when personal computing wasn't really personal, it was more scientific. People were using command line interfaces, BASIC, DOS, etc. It was really difficult to do anything on a computer. But when the graphics user interface came along, the GUI, and the Mac, Steve Jobs did what he did, it changed the game forever. It was the GUI for personal computing. And the way I like to look at the reactor is that it's the GUI for decentralized computing. So unwrap that however you'd like, but there's all types of verticals that we can target, and I think there's going to be a market difference between the time before the reactor and the time after the reactor for this space. And
that's actually a really good analogy when you think about it. You know, like what Apple did really well for personal computers was basically create an interface that allows people to interact visually with applications to be able to do whatever it is they wanted, where traditionally it was you had to code everything line by line and you had to have an experience level to be able to do that. I think the reactor brings that ease of use to the entire development ecosystem, touching on a variety of skill sets and experiences or developer skill level, opens it up to everybody. So if you're a true novice, this is a really easy tool to use. And if you're a seasoned developer, it's just having more power in a single location to be able to do everything that you're accustomed to do without having to need 3 or 4 different programs to execute.
There's one question we've missed here, guys. It's from. I'm glad you said, AJ, that you've had your red eye flight, because you obviously can't see that PSA ARC ASM is meant to sound as sarcasm, I'm guessing. But
Yeah, no, still right over my head today.
he says, sorry, mate. He says, please elaborate on the value that you see coming from the acquisition of Lightsheet AI. What will it mean for the project going forward, and how do you see it being utilized, as well as rough time frame on seeing the AI fully integrated with the reactor? Is this a few months or a 12-month kind of exercise? Could you? So I'll answer this because I'll try and dumb it down to a level that's something that's more palatable than TJ answering. The way I look at the acquisition of the AI and the use of the AI in the reactor is doing everything we're doing at the moment with the reactor is kind of in that Web 2 time, that sort of that Web 2 mindset where it's all sort of very sort of much like hammering out code and long-winded sort of processes. What Henry's built is a system that allows you to be able to visually see these things mapped out as AJ's explained. And the beauty of that is that it allows to be faster and quicker. And TJ's been banging on about AI since back in the end of 2021, which I'll be perfectly honest, I sort of paid lip service to. I thought it was a very sort of fanciful sort of futuristic thing. But as you can see, what ChatGPT has done, which is a very crude form of this, that blended into the reactor will turn it into a proper Web3 future-proof tool. The ability to sort of allow it to suggest things and to learn. It will be that thing that turns the reactor into a proper Web3 weapon. It will tie in all of those levels and all of those areas that at the moment you have to manually computate. It will do it for you, and it will learn on that process. To explain the tweet that I sent out in English, this was a little bit of a dig at some of the responses we've had regarding sort of digging into the Lightsheet AI and the GitHub and all of these sort of things that people do a little bit of digging around on the internet. They think that they've unearthed this genius thing. Not everyone is useless, Chris, but I appreciate the due diligence. So this was a little bit of a dig. The person who developed it, this is the sort of thing that they do in their free time, and I've had 2 conversations with the developer of Lightsheet AI, and I barely hung on to the conversation, if I'm honest. It was the way that these people think is mind-boggling. But this is the sort of technology that's built into the AI that we've acquired. So yeah, so it will time everything superbly of the reactor and allow us to have a much more well-rounded product. TJ, is there anything you want to elaborate on there that you think I've missed or not said?
I think you covered it well.
Perfect. So we've covered sarcasm's last one there. Adding on from Yoda-san, he is saying, he's asked how the beta test is going. We've covered that. How is the funding going? AJ, you've kind of covered that in a way. Next steps, product testing, open beta. He's asking, will he be able to test it not being a developer? TJ.
Yeah,
we're also compiling a ton of different libraries and resources to allow anyone to go in and not know anything. Logan's doing a great job of building out all those tutorials, building curriculums. So the reactor will have full documentation on how to use it, different features, different, what do you want to build? This is how you do it. So it'll be a very robust library of material for even the most novice of individuals to use. So I'm going to get in there and start playing with it too, because I realize that as I approach George's age, it's very important for me to learn how to code.
I think it'll take you a while to get to George's age.
George,
it's true.
I will take it because I love you. All right,
I know.
Oldest gents in the business. Say that with a warm heart.
TG, follow-up question: do I need to stake ARC tokens to use the open beta? Will that be a thing? Will I have to stake tokens to use that? No, it will be stake free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the reason for that is what? Barrier to entry for us from a testing perspective. Is that?
Yeah, well, and also with the whole way the tokenomic system works is it's we're trying to eliminate as many barriers to entry as possible. So in the future, we're just making it more seamless. It's still the same amount is required to stake. It's just going to be a little bit smoother than having the user pay monthly and stake upfront just to try it out.
Okay, so just to clarify for everyone listening, that the plan is very much still to require a staking of ARC tokens to utilize the reactor, but we're not going to implement that for the open beta?
Mm-mm.
Right.
Sorry, I just saw the comment. This Fuzzy said George is like a fine wine.
Thank you, Fuzzy. Okay, so that's cool. So yes, so open beta, to try and get as many people in as possible, we won't require them to stake the ARC token to utilize it, but as soon as the product is released, that will definitely be a requirement. But I think TJ is alluding to having a smoother system that isn't a complicated clicking of buttons and making sure you have to manually do the staking. But I'll let him. We'll keep that one because I can tell a little bit of alpha's trying to come out a little bit there. So
earlier, AJ was.
Yeah.
People were asking about the reactor, and I was about to say, well, we met with Blank earlier, and they want to put the reactor on their blank. And in my head, I was like,
it's AJ. AJ's having an aneurysm.
No, this is the no name zone. This is the no name zone.
Good. I'm glad we've got you, AJ, because I would probably, after a couple of sort of minutes in the conversation, be egging TJ on to say stuff. So, good. Okay, there's loads more questions. So, how is the AI going to be integrated? Yoda-san's asking, is it into the front end, or where is it going to be integrated?
Okay, that's enough. For now, it's going to be integrated into the engine of the reactor, so we're going to abstract it down to the level of like the core logic, and then some of the features that it's going to provide is like a Web3 search engine within the reactor. So you're building with the reactor, you click off the contractor on, it opens a search box, you type CH, and pull up Chainlink contracts. For example, you could one-click integrate with Chainlink products. You type, I want to build an NFT marketplace. It'll pull up like OpenSea, Rarible, Nifty, for example. And it will suggest source code edits as well as possible exploits in the code. So yeah, I mean, it's more than just a front end integration. It's going to be in the core logic of the reactor. And that's why we picked the specific AI engine we did, because it's so lightweight and it's isometric. It fits into our tech stack perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's you're not going to get a more concise answer than that. I'm reading through his questions. When is it going to be usable and shareable? I would say please refer to our roadmap for that. I believe we have it in Q3. But this will be an ongoing process as it's tested and adjusted. But yes, Q3 of this year. Polygon ZK EVM public mainnet beta March 27th. Is the reactor compatible? Yes, it's already compatible. But we were actually in front of them. We could only post to their testnet because they hadn't released it as a mainnet yet. But yes. So keep up, Polygon. Right, here's one that's close to my heart. This next question. What is George's exact role in the company? He seems to be able to banter a lot, even though while complaining on being busy. I mean, after giving him so much respect for coming on the call last time, I'm kind of a bit disappointed with this. I don't even know if I need to answer this question or not. So I'm not going to. Moving swiftly on. We have, Bionic. Though the Light GA announcement is recent, what was the AI functionality already being integrated into the reactor while the final legal docs were being inked? Was the AI. So basically, had you pre-planned this? Yeah, months and months ago, this was pre-planned. I mean, how long ago were you chatting with the people you were chatting with, TJ, for the acquisition?
It's been about 8 months in total now. But the thing is, when Henry was ideating about a future in which the internet would work off of diagrams, and he was thinking about a workflow engine that could power the future of the internet and Web3. He was already thinking about how it could integrate with AI frameworks and engines like Liche. So I would say, like, even 5 years ago, AI functionality was already being integrated into the idea. And just all along the way, we've prepared it in such a way that it would fit right in. Um, so we're like future proof and we can scale with AI rather than change our model up. That's why I think Bing is going to take over, by the way.
Bing,
Yeah, I
the
think they're doing a
Microsoft
great job.
search engine. Really?
Yeah, they have testing now, ChatGPT integrated right into Bing.
Oh, I still use Internet
But
Explorer. I
here's,
think that's the best.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but I mean, again, TJ, I remember you mentioned this back months and months ago, and I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, I mean, this is not going to be anything on the horizon, like for at
Well, yeah,
least 2 or 3 years. But
but
I was wrong.
yeah, I mean, like the Web3 search engine I mentioned earlier, what Bing is doing with ChatGPT now, think about what Arc could do with Liche in the future. It's and possibilities are endless because they're just using a large language model and they're using ChatGPT, which creates its responses in a way that just it can't come up with performant data and actual solutions like ours would be able to, because we have diagrams, we have the Arc programming language, and we have a completely different type of AI.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer. I mean, I remember the reading on the profile of the guy who built Lychee. He said after that spiel about what he's interested in, it said which cracked me up. It said I've had a look at the way the web works, and I don't particularly like it, so I've just designed this to help make it more P2P. So yeah, so I mean, this is the way that these people are thinking. It's very much sort of like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the line. So yeah, perfect answer. Thank you, TJ. How are you guys doing? Feek Adams asks, how are you guys doing? Are you missing Jasper already? Who's Jasper? Looking at the beta testing of the Arc reactor, I said that because I know he's going to be listening. Look at the beta testing of the Arc reactor. Is Q2 23 a realistic time frame for its public release? TJ, good question.
Yes, very realistic.
Okay, lovely, easy. Moving on. What is the feedback on the new reactor UI? Is the design coming soon as well? Is the new design coming soon as well? Don't know what that means.
I think he's referencing the Reactor UI. People like it. They love the new design, and we are working on ways to scale that so we can create an even more seamless interface.
Go on then. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, yeah.
Look at AJ. Sorry.
We're basically creating a way for.
You're just kind of like coercing TJ, see how close to the line he can get.
No, not.
We're creating a way to scale the reactor, so we can bring on teams of people to iterate and upgrade the UI and the UX very quickly. That way, Henry doesn't have to do all of it directly himself.
But TJ, doesn't that mean you'll have to show them the source code and thus open the box of the reactor?
Absolutely not. I mean, as you guys know right now, the reactor actually sits on the front end. There's no back end, but no one can just take it and run the scripts on their local computer. We've eliminated the need for a back end because we obfuscate it through tunnels in the source code. But what we're developing is a way for users to edit the source code without actually having access to it through an API. So
people know it, SDKs and things like that. It's common.
Which is what Blank was interested in earlier when we met with them.
Blank. That's what you're saying now. Blank. That's your way of getting around it.
Helps.
Okay.
So this is the name. Our name zone. This is when was interested because.
Okay. Perfect. Are the Lychee AI tools going to be integrated into the first iteration of Reactor or later on? Well, Q2.
Well, I'd say
2023.
Well, just check out our roadmap to know more on that.
Yeah, I would say.
I love that answer. Yes.
I would say line up the roadmap. But as some products get developed, sometimes they go faster, sometimes they go slower. It is a dynamic platform.
Yeah. Either way, we would hold things on the shelf and release it strategically.
Are you planning an overall graphic revamp of all products and brand identity? Reactor, swaps, farms, website logo, Twitter, white paper. Again.
Potentially.
Is the creative Mina still part of the team? No, and hasn't been for a long time. Wasn't
Mina?
part of ARC. Yeah, I don't think he's even part of ARC, was he? Was he? No. I wonder why that question is. Is he still down? He probably still says he works for us? No, he doesn't know. And when marketing, good. I'm glad we got those ones in there. Is it possible to shed some light on the partnerships in place, AJ, and the negotiations regarding the use of Reactor? Even if no names are allowed, sectors and size would be appreciated. Now, this is good because this is asking AJ a question, but asking AJ to sort of stray a little bit from the lines. But yeah, come on, AJ. Give them something without giving them something.
Okay. So
just rhyme it.
No,
we've been working with
that call on higher brain power right now with no sleep and no food. I'm gonna.
They know what they want. Yeah.
That's why I'm using the word blank.
Yeah. As far as grants go, I would say that you're looking for what? Size?
Partnerships. He hasn't asked for grants, partnerships. So I guess they want to know is that are there any big parties involved or interested or keen and just sort of prying eyes, Is there anything you can give them from size-wise or?
Of course. I mean, for sure. I mean, we're talking to a number of layer ones, most of which you all probably know. And if you don't, they're all within the top 150 on crypto or coin market cap.
That's very broad.
Yeah, that's very broad. That's every L1.
Numbers. I'm not going to give you numbers. I can tell you their token prices. Token prices range anywhere from 7 to like higher.
Oh my god. Okay.
Billion dollar market caps.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That's better. I don't know. I'm trying to be careful.
That's fine. I'll move on. Partnerships are a very delicate one because obviously you can absolutely burn a bridge almost instantaneously by saying.
Many companies have canceled partnerships because of leaks, and we're not in the business of doing that. Especially if you're asking me, I will not be dropping alpha like I did 2 weeks ago on.
Yeah, that was so good.
I didn't even realize it either.
No. So I'll move over. Doug, your question about the Lychee integration with Reactor. It will be an ongoing process, but Q3 is the goal for that. Any more questions? I looked at token questions. I don't know. Nella, I don't know how you know how to answer that question. I don't know what you're asking. She didn't swap for the tokens. How's this procedure? What can you tell us about the dev who came up with Lychee? I kind of have, Sam, already. I've said enough about that so far. I think to answer your question, mate. Besides Lychee AI, are there any potential acquisitions you're looking into? Was Lychee the only AI company you looked into acquire? Um,
Well, we're looking at a couple right now. Google, Microsoft.
and have you had any discussions with Google and Microsoft about us acquiring them, TJ?
Yeah, they said they were willing to just hand over the company and I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't sue me.
But have we had any other
cease and desist?
Yeah. So TJ, do we have any other potential acquisitions we're looking to at the moment?
No.
You can read into the smirk that TJ had there as well. But and was Lychee the only AI company you looked into to acquire?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. While we're on Lychee, what was that attracted ARC to them? And is there a specific thing that they do particularly well that you're being seen as a significant competitive advantage for ARC, or is it generic opportunity? Well, TJ, before you go into that again, you've kind of answered that question. Sarcasm, I think, at the start, the specific serialization that engine can do that's much more powerful.
It just fits into our it fits into our tech stack perfectly. It's going to help us scale our product offerings immensely. I mean, lots of VCs are talking about people integrating just ChatGPT through an API on their protocols and how people are making money off of that and raising money, while we're developing our own OpenAI from the ground up for Web3. So yeah, I'd say there's a lot of potential, and the tech is perfect for this space because it's extremely lightweight. It's isometric.
Perfect. How many developers are working on the project right now? We've got a handful of developers. We downsized quite a bit for the bear market, and we are being very tactical about how we allocate resources, as I've laboured on loads of times. But as TJ's already mentioned, the development of APIs and the ability to sort of utilize these for other developers will allow us to massively force multiply the amount of people that will be working on the reactor. You've got to remember this is ground. Whether you believe us or not, we're telling you, and we've had it umpteen times. People have verified that it is one of a kind technology. So sure, take it with a pinch of salt because it's coming out of my mouth. I appreciate that, but I'm telling you this is the case. So we've got to be very, very careful about who we let see. There are things that have been controlled in a sensible manner, but very, very centralized by Henry because of how secure we need to make this tech. Like, I can't emphasize enough.
Yeah, and it's kind of a mindset that a lot of people are in. Like, the more developers, the more capabilities you have, but that's not necessarily true. A lot of the times it creates confusion, creates more potential for backdoors. And you get just one developer like Henry, and you basically have 100. I mean, and we've proven that with GMX. We took all of GMX, we added code to it, we edited it, and then we pushed it to ZK rollup in 20 minutes. And when it comes to expanding in the future, we have an edge there as well. I know there's numerous PhDs that want to be at this company. So yeah, I mean, we've always had an edge on the dev side, and we're going to continue to in the future.
Couldn't agree more. We've achieved more building wise than we ever have, and I think you'll all agree with that. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Why did Jasper leave ARC, and are you not worried about the fluctuation of key personnel? So within 12 months, Ryan, Nick, Enigma, and now Jasper. Well, obviously it's not Enigma, but he was just stepping in to help out. Why did Jasper leave ARC? For personal reasons. Everyone has personal lives. TJ, myself, and even AJ have personal lives. As you all know, lots of stuff goes on, sometimes good, sometimes bad in your personal lives, things that are out of control, things that just happen, and shit does just happen. So I'm not going to go into any more detail, but it was a very hard decision for him to make, one that we fully support, and we hope he deals with what he has to deal with in his personal life. It's that simple. I truly believe when he told me it was that, it was really hard for him to come to that decision. To answer your question, within the last 12 months, Ryan maxed himself out. Again, also had things going on, personal things. He was moving home. He had some personal stuff he was dealing with, and he got to the stage where he just decided it wasn't good. I've got to stress this, guys. This job, you can't just do.
It's not
this
a normal job.
It's
like
not
having another baby. It's like 24/7.
It's ridiculous. Like weekends, you wake up in the morning, you check your phone, and you're straight into it, and then it's just, you live this much. And TJ, I'm sure will be able to verify that it's hard on personal life. It's hard to have kids and wives and to sort of give them the time that they need, and be present with them, but also give the project and the community time. So yeah. When Nick left, it was the market. It was horrendous time, and he had an opportunity to go. And this is what happens: people come, people go. Am I worried? Not even remotely worried. If I'm honest, all those people have been brilliant, and they worked so hard for us, and we are all forever grateful for the role they played. But everyone gets to their threshold. Some people get to it sooner rather than later. TJ is dying for me to hit my threshold. But I'm just too old now, so it is what it is. He's waiting on gross negligence. That's why AJ's here to make gross negligence. So yeah, and Enigma is still working in the background.
In that case, I'm just going to offshore all the community management. I'm just going to hire someone on Upwork. They're going to ask all these questions and be like, "Sorry, I don't have the answer to this."
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I get it. I get what it looks like from the outside, but you got to remember, as we get smaller, we get more efficient in what we do as well. So and we will do the reverse when the market changes, when things start going the way we want them to go. We will onboard people, and like TJ's already mentioned in previous AMAs, he's already earmarked like half a dozen people. I have to keep telling him no, it's not the right time financially, and we have these discussions all the time.
Well, I mentioned a couple minutes ago. I mean, there's multiple PhDs that want to work with us. That want to be on the dev team, people that Henry have worked with in the past that are at a similar level. No one's quite on Henry's level, but are at a similar level and want to work with us. So, yeah.
Cool. I hope I've answered that question enough. Nitram. Hearing how the call's going and the age stabs George is the next one. Yeah, I'll have probably have a heart attack, but that will be the way I go. Are you planning to make Reactor work with Shibarium? It
already does.
Right. Okay. There we go. But obviously,
it's on an EVM.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. If the testnet should be live soon, and there's a lot of hype around that, I can imagine there would be huge potential to the Reactor to develop for Shibarium or quickly migrate projects from there to the chain.
So as soon as it's live, people can use it with the Reactor. They can take anything from any other EVM chain and fork it over. So it could be a big opportunity. I mean, someone could launch GMX on Shibarium, call it SMX. I don't know. Whatever they want to do. ShibX. There we go.
When are you planning to consolidate your products into one big package? It's more than a marketing move, but it helps newcomers understand what ARC is. I'd say it's a constant process. TJ has a very well laid out idea in his head of how he wants everything to fit into this package. But honestly, at the moment, we're focusing on developing those individual sections to make sure that they are robust and up to date, and then we can look to slot them all together.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. We definitely are looking at that area for sure. TJ and I have actually received a few proposals in this area to kind of get a more cohesive messaging brand message out. We're looking into it for sure. We know that as our products become more complicated and more nuanced and kind of more sophisticated, we have to, definitely double click on that.
Yeah, well, let's just say that the person that wants to help us with that is very accredited, very skilled, and they're the type of guy that could get you in with Microsoft or Google in one call. So
Brilliant. Thank you very much. We've got this
Yeah.
is there's a
We
lot
gotta
of questions.
We got to use these.
Yeah.
I said they
Yeah.
could.
That's right. They could be anywhere.
Okay. When the reactor goes live in Q2, why wait until Q3 to integrate the Stark token?
Because we want to get it right.
You got to remember. Wait. Well, there's 1 day difference between Q2 and Q3. I don't know why I have to try and count that on my hands. You would literally implement one and the other. But this is what I mean by dynamic and fluid. If we will stick to the roadmap as rigidly as we physically can. But as you know, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. If we move forward and we find opportunity to merge something together that fits a bit more seamlessly, we will do that, and we will let you know that we've done that, and you'll understand that it's done for a reason. So, swaps 2.0. Will it be possible to enter ND contract or buy tokens, or just the listed tokens on CoinGecko? Basically, because of the way we provide you with cheaper swaps, is we obviously have that third-party routing system, and the third-party routing system does specifically require it to be listed. So unfortunately, at the moment, the answer is no, but that is something that we can look into doing in the future. So it's there's a bit of give and take there with what you want the swaps to be able to achieve, and there is some other things that TJ has floated very recently that we think swaps 3.0 would could well be. Are the rumors of Phantom being involved in beta tests true? What's Phantom? It's classic John Swanson question. That we have been discussing. We've openly been speaking to Phantom and their builders group, and
They posted about it several times.
Yeah, several times. So there's no secret there. And we speak to some of their builders groups, and that's where a lot of the value comes from. Is their builders groups are obviously looking to maximize efficiency, because they are normally have less of a bankroll than the big projects like Phantom. So hugely beneficial for them.
Yeah. Never mind.
What was that, TJ?
I was just saying there's multiple ways for L1s in different chains to use our tech.
100%. Right. Any chance Jasper comes back after sorting personal issues? No, Bladbuds. The option remains a possibility. Or yeah, I mean, guys, like, anyone can come back. It's like any job. No one's left with any bad blood. So yeah, of course. But normally people move on to things that they want a different pace of life, or they want something different. So, like I said, it's not for everyone, and everyone has different stages of their life they go through. So you got to ask him if you want that. Except Alex Hom, that guy can go fuck himself. Sorry. Sarcasm, no. Thank you for asking all the questions. I will airdrop you some tokens in Discord from my account for all of the questions. So thank you. We really appreciate all of the concise thought process.
Does anyone want to hop on before we close out here?
Oh yeah. But Yoda-san, you're not coming on again. Not after the horrible comments you made about me. You can do one, mate. There's a couple. I think that's about it. Is there any chance we could hear from Henry again sometime soon? Would love to hear his thoughts about realizing his reactor's vision and what his ideas. TJ, I'm going to answer this very quickly. When I talk to Henry, I almost have to go through TJ to debug what he says. It's like, even when I had the conversation with the guy from Lychee, I don't know whether it would help you. The way he thinks is.
And I want to kind of talk about this as well. As far as the vision for the reactor, like Henry and I's vision are both very, very similar, and that's like within the company, we understand each other's initiatives and ideas perfectly. So whenever you hear something from me, it's like a filtered version of exactly what Henry's saying, minus a lot of the technical nuances, like the post that George made the other day, neuroevolutionary CPNNs, and then everyone was like, "What the hell? I can't even go one word without looking up a definition."
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, without, I hate to say it, but yes, a lot of the direction of the React has come through TJ to Henry. The concepts, obviously, Henry's doing the building, but the ideas and the creative mindset is coming from TJ a lot of the time. So yes, I would agree. They're very much sort of intrinsically um, sort of webbed in together in their mind, in their thought process. So, and they talk every day about possibilities and stuff. And I think that's why the AI conversation got so far down the road, because TJ was talking about it for such a long period of time that obviously Henry knows people and is managing to sort of massage that into place. So yeah, he is real. He's very real. He's very polite, and we keep
He's an
him
AI.
safe. Yeah.
Henry is leaking.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So yeah. There's no John's writing a question, but it'd be barely legible this time on a Friday. He'll be 4 or 5 pints deep by now, so I won't wait for that. No, I'm joking. We will. But is there anyone who want to jump up and ask questions, audio questions? There will be some form of an airdrop I can send them for asking audio, or even more for video. It'd be great to have anyone come up.
Well, I appreciate you guys, Mar and Eli, hopping in here. Thank you for your comments.
Looks like I just offended John. Well, if there's nothing else to cover, I think we've gone over the AI, the Reactor updates. We've covered the DeFi ecosystem and progress there. There will be more posts going out on the weekend, on Saturdays. We seem to get a good traction there, and obviously, it's when people are off work and can, dedicate some time to Twitter. So there will be something going out then over the weekend on Saturday. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And one last thing I'd like to say is, if everyone could take the effort or make the effort to dig into Twitter and like and retweet all of the posts everyone's making, it really does help with a lot of that sort of visibility and eyes on the project. It only takes for an influencer just to dip his little toe into the, like for example, that one guy who tried to buy Arcadium on Arbitrum, and he messed up and bought ARC, and then he looked into the project, liked what he saw, and kept his bag. Genius. So thank you, Arcadium.
Yeah, thanks, Arcadium.
That convert. But
oh yeah, I just want to say, great job engaging lately, guys. Like George is saying, just continue to do that. Turn on your tweet notifications, and especially look into the tweet I made yesterday. I wanted to be a little bit more cryptic about it, but the different words I dropped those for a reason. So just look into that.
Yeah, we're also starting to put a bigger presence in LinkedIn as well to capture more professional developers and software engineers to get some eyes on the Reactor as well. So if you're on LinkedIn, follow ARC on LinkedIn, and like the posts, comment, help us reach more people.
Yes, definitely. And there'll be more posts about our social media going out anyway in the future with regards to all the platforms. So yeah, we are reigniting the fire here and getting a lot more momentum. So yeah. TJ, can you pin the cryptic tweet in this channel or in general for John, please?
Yeah, I can. I mean, it was the one where
harvesting and
one. Fertilizer, Ranger,
yeah, fertilizer.
Studio.
That's all lychee stuff. Yeah.
Oh, is that the one where someone just circled the SPF going?
Yeah, SPF. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Illuminati confirmed.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect. Amazing. Okay, if there's nothing else, guys, thank you very much for attending. However many people attended, and for however many people will watch this when they get off work or over the weekend. As always, if we've got any questions, ping them in Discord or Telegram, and we'll do our best to answer them. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good weekend.
That's weird.